got a few stories to get into today concerning the growing drama between Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa, as well as Carmella's character changes. So there's big drama that's reportedly stirring up between Randy Orton and NXT's Tommaso Ciampa. This has been building up for a long time, but really took off again after Randy Orton tweeted about NXT TakeOver in Your House. Randy Orton took to Twitter to say, "Heard WWE NXT TakeOver in Your House was great. Slapping my leg for you guys. Sincerely, leg slap." NXT has a strong fan base on Twitter, so if you say anything bad or even a little sarcastic, those fans will definitely come for you. One fan responded to Orton and said, "I heard Backlash will be terrible." Orton actually replied to this fan and said, "Yeah? Who said? It's a week from now, ya mark." That's when Ciampa quoted Orton's tweet about NXT TakeOver and had this to say in response to Randy Orton. "My daughter has been having trouble sleeping. Luckily, I found a remedy. Randy Orton matches. Better than NyQuil." Ciampa also went on to mention how the entire NXT locker room really worked hard and put everything they had into that show. Randy was quick to respond to Ciampa and had this to say, "Looks like I hurt the feelings of the self-appointed locker room leader of a wrestling school. Let me know what time Let Slap class starts so I can take my game to the next level." So definitely a little heated exchange there between Randy and Ciampa. Ciampa was basically saying that Randy Orton's matches are a little on the boring side, that it helps his daughter fall asleep. While Randy is saying that Ciampa is the self-proclaimed leader of a wrestling school, basically implying that NXT is still a development brand. Now, NXT was originally set to be a development brand. That's exactly what it was supposed to be early on. But in recent years, WWE has been trying to change that idea. After being known as the development brand for so long, WWE wanted to change the general view of NXT and just make it look like the third brand, right next to Raw and SmackDown. They wanted to get away from the idea that it was a development brand. That's also why we see well-established superstars visit NXT here and there. We saw Kevin Owens return to NXT a few years ago. Finn Balor recently returned full-time to NXT. That's just WWE's way of showing us that NXT isn't just for new talent anymore. It really is like a third brand. But Randy went ahead and called it a wrestling school, which is a little harsh, especially to the superstars that are on the NXT brand right now. They may be looking at themselves and thinking, am I really in WWE's wrestling school? Randy's comments just seemed to go against everything WWE was trying to get away from for the public image of NXT. So really strange comment there. Are we building to a special match? Is this all built up for Randy Orton to go over to NXT and for them to show him that they're not a wrestling school? Apparently, none of that is in the plans. This isn't leading to a match or anything of the sort. This was just a random unscripted Twitter exchange, which we recently learned is kind of like an unwritten rule in WWE. We recently saw WWE superstars tweet at one SmackDown superstar for his views and reports that came out on that situation, saying that superstars violated that unwritten rule by going after him on Twitter. According to these reports, it looks like you're only able to go after another superstar on social media if it's a part of the storyline and could set something for that week's television shows. That's the only time where you could go back and forth with another superstar on Twitter. So those superstars broke that rule a few weeks ago, and now it definitely seems like Randy Orton and Ciampa fall into that same category as well. Reports claim that Vince McMahon is bothered with Orton and Ciampa's exchange for many reasons. But one of the main reasons why Mr. McMahon is furious is because Orton and Ciampa are teasing a match that's obviously not happening. And we learned over the last few months that Vince McMahon doesn't like when superstars tease a match that's impossible to deliver. That was also the case a few months ago when Seth Rollins and CM Punk were going back and forth through social media and WWE backstage, just teasing a big WrestleMania match. Vince McMahon was reportedly upset with this exchange because, once again, you're teasing and getting the fans hyped up for something that'll never happen. If you're going to tease something, there has to be payoff for the fans. And I absolutely agree with this rumored Vince McMahon rule. We see it all the time. Superstars go back and forth like this, and the first thing we ask is if this is leading up to a match or leading up to anything. So Vince McMahon is saying that if you know nothing is going to come from it, don't have an exchange at all. And that really makes sense. So it's hard to argue with that. Randy Orton and Ciampa don't look like they'll be crossing paths anytime soon. This was just Ciampa standing up for NXT Locker Room after Randy's sarcastic tweet. So what are your thoughts there on the exchange? And do you agree with Vince McMahon's rumored idea that you shouldn't tease a match if you can't deliver on it? Real quick, if you made it this far and enjoy what you see, then make sure to hit that subscribe button below. A large percentage of our viewers aren't even subscribed. So if you enjoy what you see, make sure to hit that button below. Next up, we have a story regarding Carmella's character and all the changes she's been going through so far. Carmella made her debut back in 2014 as part of the NXT brand. The story was that Carmella was a hairdresser for WWE and she lost her job thanks to Enzo and Cass. Since Carmella lost her job, she went to Enzo and Cass and told them, since they cost her the hairdressing job, it was only right for them to train her as an in-ring competitor and have her switch over to that position. Carmella picked up the huge win during her debut match and managed Enzo and Cass for a long time after that. But Triple H did go up to Carmella and made it clear to her that she was going to be way more than just a manager and will take off on her own. Fast forward a few years later, and Triple H's word couldn't be any more true. After all these years, Enzo and Cass are both out of the WWE, and Carmella is the only one that remains out of that old pairing. In her first 4 years on the main roster, Carmella has made quite an impact and become a household name. From her early heel days of feuding with Nikki Bella to her days as SmackDown Women's Champion to her babyface turn, all the way to current day, we've seen Carmella go through a lot of changes and different stages of her career. Carmella was recently asked about all of her character changes over the past few years, and she shared her thoughts about the topic on Reddit. Carmella had this to say: I don't have an acting background, unless you count the plays and musicals I did in high school. I love being able to show different sides of my character. I never want to be stuck in one particular role. It never gets old, and I'm allowed to adapt to whatever situation I find myself in. A lot of superstars come from that same sort of background as Carmella. They have little to no acting experience when they first come into WWE. But over time, you just automatically learn more acting skills and learn how to portray your character in a certain way. And that's what Carmella and others have really mastered. Carmella is also making it clear there that it never gets boring to her, but she likes to keep her character fresh and just never stay in one specific role. She has been doing that a lot lately, not only with her actual character, but with her look as well. Carmella has had her hair fully blonde, brunette, and is constantly changing it to just keep her look fresh as well. So who knows what's next for Carmella? Last time we saw her, she was teaming up with Dana Brooke, so we'll have to wait and see if she will stay in the tag team division or go back solo real soon. What are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.